Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today we're going to be doing a teardown of the PlayStation Classic and its controller. I think I found a few little interesting things with it that I want to share with you guys. But before we dive into that, I want to talk about the hacking scene a little bit real quick. So there is some news going on out there. There's a lot of little things that have been discovered. This device, obviously, it's running, a version of Android. I mean, it's kind of a given, most of these types of devices do, but there is a group of hackers out there who have been digging deep into this thing. People have been able to dump the firmware. They're starting to really dive into it and take a look and see how this thing works. So it's just taken some time. These guys just have to look at the stuff that's encrypted currently to figure that out. So I'm saying give it just a short time, maybe within a week we'll be hearing some more solid stuff. The other little tidbit of news was concerning people using a keyboard to get into the emulation settings screen. So yesterday I had tons of people blowing me up saying, hey, check this out. Plug in a keyboard, hit escape when you go into a game. And in all honesty, I haven't been able to get that to work. I have like 10 different keyboards, all USB keyboards. I've tried them all. Doesn't work for me, but I'm not the only one. I'm hearing plenty of people out there are not able to get into the screen, but there are people who have confirmed certain keyboards do work, like specific Corsair keyboards. Some people have said Logitech, but I have like 3 Logitech keyboards. None of them worked, so I'm not 100% with that. The one thing that I think might be the power draw, because a few of my keyboards that have lights on them, they won't come on. I have a mechanical keyboard that I plugged in, and the lights will come on for a moment, and there'll be like a little, arrow mouse cursor up in the top left of the screen. But after I boot up a game, after the system's on for a little while, that little cursor disappears and the lights turn off on my keyboard. So that's a thing that you got to kind of look at. I think it has to do with the power draw. Some keyboards I have that have, you press caps lock or whatever and the little light goes on, won't work. The light doesn't go on, so it's just telling me, okay, it's not powering the keyboard. There's nothing going on here. It's not transferring anything. I won't get the little cursor. So it's just a mixed bag with that piece of it. I have tried plugging in the PlayStation Classic to my PC and have gotten nothing, no access or anything. I'm sure there's some guides out there floating around on how to get into that firmware and whatnot, so I'm going to be looking at that a little closer soon. The only thing I had found was playing with the buttons on the system. I would get a red light to come on the power indicator on the PlayStation Classic. So I'd seen people talking about, well, maybe, it'll be a similar thing with the SNES Classic or NES Classic, where you're, pressing the power button or the reset button and stuff like that when you're using Hack Chi, for example. And, I tried doing those things to get my PC to recognize the device. Nothing popped up, but like I said, one instance, I only was able to do it once. A little red light came on, and it stayed on for a few seconds, and then it went away. So just be patient with the hacking as far as the PlayStation Classic goes. Time will tell. It's very soon, I'm pretty sure. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive up close and tear this bad boy down. Okay guys, so here is the system and controller. We're going to go ahead and take both of them apart. The controller requires 8 screws to be removed, and that's it. There shouldn't be anything else on the inside. The actual system itself, we do have 2 on the sides and then 1 in the middle, and that's pretty much it. So just 5 screws. There's probably going to be some screws on the inside as well to remove the board from the shell, so we'll have to tackle that when we get there. But this is definitely pretty exciting times with all these devices. I love the aesthetic of the PlayStation Classic. I just don't like the execution of the games, the emulation, and just it's kind of a joke, man. They really should have put some effort into it. But here we go. We have the halves together there. We have to remove some more screws, it looks like, to get the board out. So it looks like, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, we have 4 screws to remove. So let's go ahead and grab those and get this board out. You see the board was marked, PlayStation Interactive Entertainment. So pretty nice. And at least they got their branding on the board, right? So here she is. We do have this shield here that we have to remove in a second. The buttons are all spring loaded, so that's nice. I mean, you could take them out if you need to, but we're just gonna leave them as is for now. So this shielding is not, it's not screwed down. It's essentially has some thermal tape or something to the CPU to keep it cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Remove the little, okay, we got some tape here. Get that off. And now the board is fully exposed. Pretty cool stuff. So let's go ahead and set that aside and take a look at what we have. So this thing is actually, it's powerful enough to do some stuff. So can't wait for the hacking scene here. But let's take a look. The chips we do have the CPU is a MediaTek MT816-7A. It's a quad-core ARM Cortex A35 at 1.5 gigahertz. Pretty good stuff. We also have the GPUs, a PowerVR G3 8300, 1 gigabyte of RAM, DDR3 at 1866 megahertz, and then we do have 16 gigabytes of eMMC NAND memory, Samsung branded. And as I was showing a second ago, the buttons for the on and off and whatnot, they're tactile buttons that are, on the board. So pretty cool stuff. So let's put that aside and go ahead and get the controller open. The insides of the system definitely cool, and really, the people who have been digging into this, it's, they know what's up with this thing, and they're going to be getting that hacking going. So can't wait for that. The controller, I think this is pretty interesting. So let's take a look at this bad boy once we get it open. So, for sure, I really wish the system came with DualShock controllers, but hey, I'm actually fine with this controller. It actually feels really good. Like I said, the aesthetics, the build quality on this device is pretty nice. It's just the implementation of the software, the games they chose, the PAL stuff, that's what's annoying. But let's take a look at the inside of this controller. So this is kind of strange. It looks like there's a little encoder, and there's a USB, like a little micro, or micro. I always get micro and mini mixed up, but the size you use for your phone, for Android phones. The cord just plugs into the encoder, and then there's these clips to get the base thing out of the controller. I don't think I've seen controllers like this. So what I'm doing is I'm actually just pushing the buttons in the D-pad to kind of pry it out. And wow, it's just this is kind of odd, but okay, so here's one half of the controller with the little conductive pads. Nothing out of place here, but this is kind of interesting. I've not seen a controller from a first-party company like this, where everything, all the traces for the buttons, they're on plastic. So everything is on this, I don't even know what it's called, but you see, instead of a PCB printed on an actual board, it's a piece of plastic. And then it's got a ribbon cable that plugs into this encoder. So the encoder has 4 clips, kind of a pain in the ass to pry off of this thing. So there we go, we got it out. Just a little tiny encoder with the little USB port on there to plug into the cable that plugs into your system. I find this an interesting design choice. I don't know if this is a cheaper way of going about things nowadays or what, but very interesting to say the least. Yeah, I've not seen this before. Like I said, not with the controllers from a first-party company, but there's a little closer look to this little plastic shell with the traces on a piece of plastic paper. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not sure what it's called. I'm sure somebody will be like, no, this is what it's called, and cool, let me know, but I'm not sure. Is this a cheaper way to do things with boards for controllers now, or is this just the better way of doing things? I mean, it looks interesting, it functions, so can't really complain about that, but definitely an odd thing. I thought that was pretty darn interesting with the controller and wanted to share that with you guys. So here's all the pieces, everything destroyed, everything blowed up out of, the PlayStation Classic controller. and system. Very minimal. You know, there's not a lot of stuff going on here, but interesting stuff nonetheless. Well, there you have it, guys. My little teardown of the system and the controller. Some little interesting tidbits, I think, especially with the controller. That's just, I don't know. I thought it was cool, but hey, really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, spending these few minutes of your time. It means the world to me, guys. Really does. So smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sweet love to that notification bell. You know what I'm talking about. And with that said, guys, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom.